Ukraine just ordered 1,000 electric scooters from Latvia. And no, this isn't a quirky human interest story. These aren't e-scooters buzzing around your local dead mall. These are battlefield vehicles moving snipers, ammo, and even the wounded across some of the most dangerous terrain in Europe. Let's break down how Global Wolf Motors of Latvia accidentally stumbled into the military micro-mobility revolution. Hey friends, Wes here, veteran of the U.S. Army Infantry and the U.S. Air Force, where life was so much better. Any active duty Army watching me right now? The grass really is greener over there. Today we're talking about how Ukraine pioneered another defense innovation: military micro-mobility. When Russian drones target big vehicles, the smart play is fast and silent. Global Wolf Motors, a Latvian company, has already shipped about 1,000 of its Mosphera electric scooters to Ukraine. It started small, just 300 units for border guards. Then, Special Forces saw their potential. Now they're in wide use along the front. According to the company's CEO, Klaus Osmanis, what began as a border control mobility tool is now a frontline combat platform, and the demand keeps climbing. From recon to medevac, Ukrainian soldiers didn't just accept these scooters, they reinvented them. Sniper teams use them for stealth infiltration, riding quietly into position, taking their shots, and then vanishing before the Russians can react. They've been used for resupplying ammo and food, ferrying equipment, and even evacuating lightly wounded soldiers. One Ukrainian fighter described how you can ease the throttle and crawl a wounded comrade out of the mud, something a heavy vehicle would never manage without becoming a target. That same fighter pointed out the key advantage: roads are death traps. Russian drones watch every main route. Heavy vehicles mean big losses, but mopeds and scooters, well, they slip through the forest paths, dodge artillery, and move troops silently where trucks can't go. The Mosphera scooter weighs about 74 kilos, tops out at about 100 kilometers per hour, and can cover up to 300 kilometers on a single charge. That's more than enough to run recon missions, shuttle supplies, or reposition troops in contested zones. Now, the real killer feature, though, isn't speed or range, it's silence. Unlike motorcycles or ATVs, these scooters whisper across the battlefield. Russian drones scanning with audio sensors or simple human ears have a much harder time picking them out. And then there's the modularity. From tool to platform, Osmanis called it a stand-position motorcycle. But the real story is adaptability. These scooters are modular. Units have already asked for medevac trailers, drone recharging stations, and even compact firefighting rigs. Add-ons could include infrared lights, anti-drone radars, or cargo trailers carrying over a ton. This is classic wartime ingenuity, Ukrainian style. Take a simple, affordable machine and evolve it into a battlefield platform. Ironically, this whole venture started in vineyards and solar farms when COVID tanked the entertainment industry. In 2020, Osmanis pivoted from go-karts to utility scooters. Farmers and civilian sectors bought in first. Then came 2022, Russia's full-scale invasion, and suddenly Ukrainian troops were testing donated prototypes in combat. From there, the scooters jumped from peaceful vineyards to the mud of the Donbas. Talk about a career change. But there are some procurement and production challenges. Now, demand is surging, but Osmanis admits that the bureaucracy is slowing official procurement down. The scooters need to be added to approved military acquisition lists before mass orders can flow. Current production capacity sits at about 1,000 units per year, but he claims it could scale to 10,000 if NATO and Ukraine greenlit bulk orders. His biggest worry, though, is copycats. Russia could easily mimic the design. That's why he's racing to establish the category of military micro-mobility before anyone else does. So why does micro-mobility matter in the war in Ukraine? Well, it's already shown us that size is no longer a guarantee of survival. Tanks, infantry fighting vehicles, and even self-propelled artillery have become favorite targets for cheap drones and loitering munitions. The old idea of armor equals protection has been turned on its head. Mobility, dispersion, and stealth now matter more than a few inches of steel. It's what I've been saying for months on this channel. Speed equals survival. And that's where the scooters, the mopeds, and the other micro vehicles come into play. They aren't meant to replace tanks or IFVs, but they give soldiers a way to move quickly and quietly in contested terrain without presenting a billion-ruble target to Russian Lancets. In other words, they extend survivability through speed and unpredictability rather than through armor. I almost said rather than through armor. Rather than through armor. Micromobility also plugs into the larger doctrine of distributed operations. Small mobile teams can operate semi-independently, supported by lightweight transport that doesn't choke logistics. When you can scatter units across a wider area, you reduce the chances of catastrophic losses from a single drone or artillery strike. This is the same logic behind NATO experimenting with small unit drone swarms, only here it's applied to human mobility. Economics also can't be ignored. A destroyed tank means millions gone. A destroyed scooter? A few $1,000s at most. That shifts the balance in Ukraine's favor. It's far cheaper to replace a fleet of scooters than a fleet of APCs, and it means commanders are more willing to risk them for dangerous missions, which in itself dictates Ukraine's operational tempo, keeps it high, keeps them moving. Finally, there's the terrain factor. Forest paths, sometimes swampy fields, and urban rubble all punish heavy vehicles. Scooters excel here, especially in the forest paths. They're light, they're narrow, they're capable of slipping through environments that would bog down armored columns. Historically, we've seen terrain kill armies. Napoleon's horses in the Russian winter, German tanks in the Soviet mud. Today, Ukrainian scooters are flipping that logic, using terrain as cover rather than letting it dictate failure. The strategic takeaway is clear. Micromobility isn't a gimmick, no matter how silly you look riding into battle on an electric scooter. This is a survival tool. So, as drones continue to dominate the skies, giving troops the ability to maneuver quietly and cheaply on the ground could be just as decisive as any missile swarm. Beyond Ukraine, Osmanis isn't just thinking battlefield. These scooters already serve in forestry, ports, agriculture, and solar fields. NATO delegations are watching closely. It's not hard to imagine similar platforms in Arctic patrols, disaster relief, or even urban policing. Military micromobility might sound like a niche. Well, it is a niche, but every new category starts that way. So, what started as a COVID business pivot has become a battlefield too, shaping Ukraine's success on the battlefield. From vineyards to front lines, Latvian scooters are redefining what mobility means in modern war. And if you think this sounds like a gimmick, just remember Ukrainian snipers are already ghosting Russian positions on two silent wheels. That's it for today, my friends. When you subscribe, it tells the YouTube algorithm that Latvian scooters can beat Russian tanks, and honestly, that's the kind of chaos I'm here for. And as always, glory to Ukraine, glory to the heroes. Crimea is Ukraine.